So, just to recap a little bit, you left off investigating the asylum at Shrenton in 1923. And your only other lead was to go back to the bibliothèque or to investigate the Comte's home in Plessy. But you know it was burnt down. And I was telling Grandma that this week. So when you come back, that'll be your what we come back to. But in the meantime, you guys go back to the hotel and start reading the diary of Captain Malon. But yeah, some of you are monarchists, others support the people. But that's just a start. You can kind of shape your character from there.
1789.
And then you're part of a group of like 6 soldiers. So if one of you ends up dying, there's 2 backups.
Yeah, we just like switch.
Kyle's got to pick which of the 3 he's going to play.
Mind the cannons!
And then, of course, Susie is your commanding officer.
Yeah.
Sergeant.
Both of.
Ferry, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a rough-looking 34, I'll tell you what.
Everyone's pretty rough looking.
Life has not been kind.
Never is pretty much.
You're Pressy. A young romantic.
Yes.
20 years old.
And then, Grandma, you have a secret that the others don't know about, of course.
You're a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you know, out of the game, but inside the reality of the game, you don't know.
Yeah.
You'll think that she's a man.
Surprisingly.
It's funny, her picture, yeah, she's very obviously a woman in her picture. It's not. I would think they would make it a little more less obvious. I don't know. It is June 1794. A 2-wheeled cart with high wooden sides rumbles over the cobbled streets of Paris, drawn by a tired horse. Inside, men and women sway with every jolt. Some stare at the ground, their faces drawn with fear. Others weep softly. One man stands tall. The cart trundles past narrow streets packed with crowds. Parisians jostle and jeer, laughing and making the familiar gesture of drawing a finger across the neck. But not every face is filled with scorn. A middle-aged woman hugs 2 young girls tightly to her side, watching the cart with anxious eyes. An old man, stooped and broken, shakes his head slowly as it passes. A 1-eared dog barks and chases after it until a soldier curses and kicks at it. The dog yelps and flees. A blonde-haired woman with close-cropped hair stands silent and motionless, grief etched into her features. A bearded man leans heavily on a crutch. His voice cracks as he calls out a name, lost beneath the crowd's noise. The young man nearby watches with quiet resignation. His youth worn away by years of sorrow, he turns away. The cart rolls into a great square, the Place de la Révolution. At its center, the guillotine. The crowd swells around it, pressed close for a glimpse. The soldiers push them back, clearing space. The cart reaches the foot of the scaffold, and the man who stands with a proud back steps down first. He climbs the wooden steps, slow and steady. The executioner moves to shove him down, but the man kneels of his own accord. Below, seated women knit with mechanical rhythm, eyes fixated on the stage. Clack, clack, clacking away. Above, the blade hangs. It gleams, a shining arc of sharpened steel. A faint engraving catches the sun, a concentric circle. The crowd holds its breath. Time freezes. The blade falls. The reign of terror claims another. 5 years earlier, France, 1789. In the streets of Paris and beyond, murmurs of discontent have become a steady roar. The cobblestones tremble under the boots of soldiers and the bare feet of starving peasants alike. Rumors fly faster than carriages, of plots, of treason, of bread carts overturned and heads rolling in the gutters. You are standing on the edge of something vast, something that no one yet understands. The King, Louis XVI, still sits on his throne at Versailles, but the divine right of kings feels suddenly fragile. The crown is tarnished by extravagance and debt. The Queen, Marie Antoinette, is whispered about in cafes and drawing rooms, her lavish tastes and foreign birth making her a target of the people's rage. For decades, the aristocracy has lived in luxury, while the common people starved. The Third Estate, the vast majority of the French population, bears the weight of taxation, toil, and hunger. Bread prices are soaring. Wages are stagnating. Crops have failed, again and again, and harsh winters have shattered the spirits of entire provinces. Meanwhile, the First and Second Estates, the clergy and nobility, live untouched, exempt, and aloof. But change is in the air. Enlightenment ideas have spread like wildfire. People speak openly now of liberty, of equality, of reason. Pamphlets pour from secret presses. The Estates General has been summoned for the first time in 175 years. Some dare to dream of reform. Others speak of revolution. Yet, the tension is more than political. There is something darker threading its way through the blood and smoke. An unease in the bones, a pressure in the air. Some claim to have seen strange gatherings in the night. Others speak of masked figures haunting midnight salons. The old order is cracking. Not just the monarchy, but something deeper, something older. This is the world you inhabit. France in 1789, a nation on the brink. Every alleyway could be the start of a riot. Every noble estate could be torched by sunrise. Behind it all, shadows move. June 2nd, 1789, around midnight, at the catacombs of Paris. The air is thick, with the mingling sense of damp earth, candle wax, and the unmistakable rot of death. Your breath comes shallow as you stand at the edge of the yawning black tunnels that stretch beneath Paris. A labyrinth of bones and silence. Tonight, your duty is to guard the grim procession of the dead as they make their final journey. A procession of carts, draped in heavy black cloth, creaks along the narrow path, leading to the entrance of the catacombs. Each cart is laden with skeletal remains of the long-buried dead from the St. Innocent's Cemetery. The churchyard, overfilled with centuries of corpses, has been ordered cleared, its grisly cargo transported here to the ossuaries below. The priests walk alongside the carts, muttering Latin prayers, swinging censers of burning incense that struggle against the reek of decay. Their solemn expressions betray the weight of their duty, and you notice the laborers, gaunt men with sunken eyes, eyeing them with disdain. These are the poor, the desperate, those with no other means to earn their bread but by hauling the remains of the long dead. They spit upon the ground at the sight of the clergy, grumbling under their breath. To them, the church is not salvation but hypocrisy, a gilded force that preaches mercy while the people starve. Lucien Rigoualt, the court physician is here to supervise the work. He's a large man with nervous energy. Walt wears a wig, and his cheeks are powdered a fashionable white. The wig is askew, however, as his excessive sweating is making the makeup run. His eyes gleam feverishly as he directs the workers. Skulls to the left, bones to the right, and so on. He is most particular that the skulls be separated, but at times runs out of breath and waves at the workers to continue while he composes himself. To the other soldiers, Rigwalt appears not fit enough for the task, but he is pushing himself to get it done. The workers hesitate only for a moment before they begin unloading. The bones shift and rattle as they are transferred from the carts into waiting wheelbarrows. Some skulls tumble loose, rolling onto the cobblestones with hollow clacks. One man curses and kicks a bone aside before catching the sharp glance of the doctor. Another worker picks up a femur, holding it in the dim light as if contemplating something unseen. The Paris police had been assigned to the task, but their efforts of late have been lax. Last month, a cart was overturned outside the catacombs, and the priests beaten severely. Thus, the army has been called in to restore order. The night is still, save for the grumbling of men, the murmur of prayers, and the scraping of bone against wood. So, how do each of you perform your duties? Do you pitch in and help unload the carts? Do you go to the catacombs to hold a lantern? Or keep an eye out on the night streets for signs of trouble?
I'm helpful.
Keeping an eye out.
Everyone who's keeping an eye out, make me a spot hidden roll.
$87. That's a fail.
No, and I'm also gonna be on like, you know,
You watching?
Keep an eye out.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye?
Watching for make sure everything's safe.
82 and mine.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
we both failed, man.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And I'm being helpful.
Okay.
I'm kind of getting into, the routine of things, and I'm helpful. I'm helping sort.
Someone at some point asks for help carrying a body.
I can do that.
Can you help? Okay.
Yeah.
Make me a luck roll.
Oh no.
67.
What's your luck?
My luck is
Top on top.
okay. 60.
Mine's 62.
Got
You could
five-
spend 7 luck to pass the roll. Because no, I guess you can't spend luck on a luck roll. You failed. You rolled a 67. You have to roll under, so. So now you need to make me a constitution roll.
55.
And what is your constitution?
75.
Okay.
You can see
And then, why don't you also go ahead and make me a spot hidden roll?
clear. 16.
Dang. I'm gonna assume that passes.
Spot hidden roll would be the...
Well, I think base is 20 anyway, so. You, as you're moving this body, something catches your eye. A flyer flies through the air and lands nearby and into a pile of loose dirt. Do you want to pick it up and look at it?
Well, yeah, that's kind of unusual in those days. Would have been, well, in any time, actually.
So
yeah.
you pick it up, and when you smooth it out, the words stand stark against the page. Queste queleties etat, which in French means, what is the third estate? It's an incendiary pamphlet by Emmanuel Joseph Sieyès, arguing for the rights of people against those of the established order of clergy and aristocracy.
That's right down my alley, because that's what I believe in.
So what do you do with it?
Well, I think I need to find out the author of this.
I mean, like, are you going to throw it away? Or are you going to keep it?
No, I'm going to fold it up and put it in
Fold
my
it up,
pouch.
tuck it away?
Yeah.
Alright. And, okay, that's good.
Little clue for later.
The night's grim work is broken by the sudden thunderous clatter of hooves upon the cobbled streets. A white carriage with striking red trim
Wow.
barrels into view, its wheels spitting sparks as they grind against the uneven stones. The driver, garbed entirely in black, with a mask obscuring his face, urges the horses forward without regard for those in his path. The workers cry out in alarm, stumbling aside as the carriage hurtles past. Most escape unscathed, but one man is not so lucky. A sickening crunch echoes through the streets as the carriage clips him, sending him sprawling to the ground. He screams in agony, clutching his leg, now bent at an unnatural angle. A few wheelbarrows overturn, sending bones clattering onto the street. But the driver does not slow, does not acknowledge the chaos left in his wake. And you can all three make me another spot hidden roll.
So, I got 39.
I got 30.
I got
Two
60.
passes.
And my spot
That's-
hidden is 65, and I got 39.
Pass,
That's
pass.
a pass for me.
3 passes. Alright, so all three of you,
Yeah.
for a fleeting moment, as the carriage streaks by, an open window reveals a glimpse of its occupants. And you see a nobleman dressed in the finest silks. He holds a pale young woman close to his lips, pressed against hers. Yet, even as he indulges in his private pleasures, his eyes snap up, locking onto you, Luis. Or, sorry. What's your name again?
My name...
Christoph?
Hugo. Yeah. Joseph Hugo.
It's at the top.
Joseph,
Joseph, okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's going to take me a while to get used to that. Time seems to halt. The world fades. And for that terrible instant, you are held by his gaze. His lips curl into a knowing smile, a flicker of amusement or recognition dancing in his expression. The spell is broken in a flash. The carriage speeds away, its wheels rattling northward into the darkness of the city. Damn aristos! The workers spit, shake their fists at the departing carriage, cursing under their breath. Then, with the same resignation, they carry in all things. They return to their grim work, lifting skulls and femurs with weary hands. Oh, dang it. If Kyle were here, he could make a no roll. Because his character knows something that none of you guys do.
Darn.
So, Lucien Regualt rushes to the injured worker's side, his powdered face slick with sweat. He kneels beside the groaning man, quickly assessing the extent of the damage. "Ah, clean break," he mutters, his fingers pressing against the swollen flesh. "You're lucky, if you can call it that." Regualt barks orders to you, demanding splints and cloth. So, who's gonna go grab the splints and cloth?
Yeah, I am.
All right. So you go bring them to him, and he asks you, hold him down. His voice sharp as he sets to work. The man screams as his bone is aligned, but the doctor does not flinch. Someone find him a bucket of brandy. He'll need it. The hours wear on, the grim labor continuing under flickering lantern light. The night air remains heavy, thick with dust and the ever-present scent of decay. Then, without warning, a new disturbance ripples through the workers. One by one, they halt their tasks, setting down skulls and femurs, their eyes fixed on the gaping maw of the catacombs.
Ooh.
A murmur spreads low, hushed voices carrying fear. There's someone inside, one man whispers, watching us. Another worker, his face pale and slick with sweat, nods. I saw it too. A shadow moving in the dark. It does not belong there. The murmurs turn into nervous clamor. Some cross themselves. Others, muttering prayers. Others shake their heads, unwilling to enter the tunnels again. This is a cursed task, an older man says. The dead do not wish to be disturbed. We should not be here. Lucien McWalt strides forward, his face flushed with anger. Fools! Superstitious fools! He snaps, his voice echoing off stone walls. You will not stop now. These are bones. Bones! Nothing more. There are no spirits, no watchers, only shadows playing tricks on your weak minds. The workers do not move. Their fear is stronger than Rigwalt's scorn. Rigwalt exhales sharply and turns to you three. His eyes gleam with frustration as he gestures towards the entrance. You! Go inside. Put an end to this nonsense. See for yourselves that there is nothing in the dark but more bones. The lanterns flicker, casting long wavering shadows along the damp stone walls as you enter into the catacombs.
Seems I've maybe been here before.
In a future life. So, the air grows colder and the entrance yawns before you, its darkness stretching endlessly below. So what are you going to do? How are you going to solve the situation? He's just ordered you to go make sure it's all good down there.
I'm gonna go in.
But really what he wants is to get these workers back to work.
Right.
So it's up to you three to solve the problem now.
I said go in and take a quick look around and then come out and...
Go divvy up bones.
Yeah.
Alright.
You good with that?
Yeah.
Alright, you begin your descent. The spiral staircase made of cold, worn stone winds endlessly downward, each step echoing beneath your boots. The air grows colder, thicker with the weight of centuries. Dampness clings to the walls, slick beneath your gloved fingers. The light of your lantern flickers in the darkness, casting shadows that slither and dance along the stone.
It's a creepy place.
At last, you step into a small chamber, the threshold to a world unseen by the living. Beyond, corridors stretch into the abyss, filled with remnants of countless dead. You have arrived in an empire of death. Lanterns have been placed at regular intervals, their dim glow offering weak sanctuary against the oppressive dark. The ceiling is low, pressing down on you like the weight of the earth itself. The air is dry, thick with dust that settles in your throat, making each rasp of breathing laborious. A silence of the grave surrounds you, deep and unbroken. Bones are stacked in careful, meticulous rows, each type arranged with macabre artistry. Skull upon skull, femur upon femur, their grinning visages locked in eternal stillness. The arrangement is almost beautiful in its grim symmetry, a design both reverent and horrifying. The cavern walls recede into deeper corridors, twisting tunnels veiled in shadow, untouched by lantern light. The way forward leads deeper underground, into blackness unbroken. With every step further in, the world above ceases to exist. The murmurs of the workers, the shuffling of feet, the distant muttering of Rigwalt, all are swallowed by the sheer weight of the catacombs. And you can all make me spot hiddens.
Pass.
008.
56.
You are alone now, entombed in the depths, in the depths of the dead. Then, movement. One of you notices a crouching figure in the dark, just beyond the reach of the lantern light. Its eyes gleam yellow, reflecting the dim glow with an eerie, unnatural sheen. Before you can react, the figure lopes away, moving with an unsettling, dog-like gait, disappearing into the labyrinth corridors beyond. And for a moment, all is still. This only sound is your breathing, the steady flicker of the lanterns casting shifting shadows against the walls. Are you gonna pursue?
Well, we're down here now. What do you think? Are we gonna go look after that dog-like thing?
If he even is that.
What do you-
No.
Could be a dire wolf. It could be some sort of a...
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna. I'm out of here.
You're gone.
So yeah, you go back up. And the figure does not return, nor is there any further sign of movement in the depths. After confirming that all is safe, you return to the surface to report. The workers, though wary, resume their grisly task, their murmured fears giving way to the grim necessity of their work. And so yeah, you come up and Rigwalt. So, did you see anything down there?
Yeah.
And what was it?
To be honest.
Probably just a mangy mutt.
Well, I'm sure it is not to return. You scared it away. Now, you, get back to work! And he orders the workers back into the catacombs. The night's work drags on. Bones stacked higher, dust thickening in the air. Then, another interruption. The clatter of hooves shatters the silence as a lone rider gallops up to the gates. His horse slick with sweat. In one swift motion, he swings down, boots striking the ground heavily. Captain Louis Malon stands before you. Louis Malon. Louis? He is a tall man, his black mustache neatly trimmed, his steel blue eyes sharp with purpose. The bearing of a natural soldier rests upon his broad shoulders, and his presence commands immediate attention. You are to leave your post, he announces. At once. There has been a murder. The order is unexpected, and he continues, wasting no time in explanation. A printing press at the Rue de la Harpe. The landlady, Madame Bossat, reported the crime. The police were sent, but I do not trust de Krosner's men to investigate properly. Corrupt and incompetent, that lot. His lips curl in distaste. I want you to take the lead, Sergeant.
Very well.
He nods towards a row of tethered horses. It is a short ride. You can use these mounts here. And as you prepare to depart, he steps in close to you, Sergeant Renwalt, his voice lowering to a near whisper. The workers continue their grim task, oblivious to the exchange, and he says, find out what happened, but also find out what was being printed. His still blue gaze lingers for a moment, heavy with unspoken meaning. Then he straightens. Go. The night presses close as you mount up, the streets of Paris waiting ahead. The hooves of your horse strike the cobblestones as you weave through the darkened streets of Paris. The air is thick with the mingling scent of damp stone, refuse, and the distant promise of bread, though for most that promise will go unfulfilled. As you near the Rue de la Harpe, a movement in the distance draws your attention. A ragged crowd has gathered outside a bakery, voices raised in frustration, fists shaking in desperation. The people of Paris are starving, and you have seen this before. You know how it begins. This is no mere dispute. It is the first breath of a riot. A woman shouts, "We have nothing! My children starve while you hold your grain!" The baker, a harried man with flour-streaked hands and fear in his eyes, stands in the doorway, arms raised to ward off the growing fury. "It is already sold," he cries. "I have a little flour. I must fill my orders. There will be nothing left." The answer satisfies no one. The crowd swells closer, a wave of anger and desperation. Ahead, the road is still open. You can push through, continue towards your mission, the printing press. But if this riot erupts into violence, the city guards will be slow to respond, if they come at all. So what do? Do you intervene or do you ride on?
I say we intervene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. How are you going to do that?
I'm gonna tell the crowd to disperse.
So make me a persuade roll.
$85.
Doesn't sound good. Yeah, they are deaf to your pleas. And their tensions are rising. If anyone else has any other ideas. Give us the bread! We're starving!
Give a loaf of bread to that person. Send them on and tell them there'll be another one waiting when they get back.
The baker turns to you. There's not enough. And then what will I tell the people who paid already?
He's just fulfilling orders. Okay. Ask the people if they know where this is. Where would they be going?
What? They're going to burn down this baker's bakery. What do you mean?
Well,
They're about to riot
right.
and break into this place and steal this bread and maybe kill this guy and do who knows what else afterwards.
Gotta buy time.
Well, if you guys can't think of anything,
I would
Yeah,
say
I
like
just see.
shoot into the air and demand attention again and ask them to disperse.
now I need you to roll me an intimidate.
51, which is a fail.
Yeah, no.
What is your intimidate?
40.
You can spend luck. Or
Okay.
you could push the roll.
And try to roll again.
But if you did that
Then
and failed, then
I can't
very
spend
bad things would happen. They'll probably kill
No,
the
I'll
baker
spend the luck.
if you push and fail. Okay, so you'll spin the luck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you fire into the air, frightening the crowd, and they begin to disperse. Their anger quelled, at least for tonight. Order is restored before violence can erupt. The murmurs of discontent linger, but the people of Paris know that, for now, there is nothing more to be done. One by one, they slink back into the shadows of the city, returning to their hunger and their homes. The baker, his face still pale with fear, exhales a shaking breath. His wife clings to his arm, and their children peek from the doorway, eyes wide with unspoken gratitude. You have done us a great kindness. Had you not stepped in, I fear what might have happened. They are desperate, and desperation makes men forget themselves. His wife nods, pressing her hands together. We have little to offer, but you have our thanks. May you find fortune where we cannot. The family watches as you prepare to ride once more. Their gratitude silent but genuine. The road to Rue de la Harpe awaits. It is narrow and dark. The tenement buildings pressing in like silent sentinels. The printing press occupies the ground floor of one such structure. Its wooden door hanging ajar, shattered from the force of a brutal entry. The air is thick with tension, the sharp scent of ink mingling with something more metallic, something wrong. Outside, a small crowd has gathered. Some are in their night clothes, clutching flickering candles and lanterns, their faces pale with fear. Their voices rise in a mix of anger and superstition. Aristos, one man spits, his fists clenched. This is their doing. They silence those who speak the truth. Another mutters a hurried prayer, crossing himself as he casts fearful glances at the darkened doorway. No good will come of this. No good at all. The presence of uniformed soldiers does little to calm them. Some bristle, their eyes filled with suspicion. Others look upon you as if you bring order to a world rapidly falling into chaos. But none dare step inside. On the worn stone steps, a woman sits hunched, her body trembling, her face pale as wax. Her disheveled hair clinging to her damp forehead. Her eyes empty, unfocused. She stares into the distance as though seeing something beyond this grim street. An older man from the crowd leans in and whispers to one of you. I'll say, to, what's your name? Victor?
Christoph.
Christoph? Give me your names real quick. Christoph?
Joseph.
And Theory.
Theory. Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's Madame Bossat, the landlady. I've never seen her like this. She's got a tongue like a blade, always shouting at her tenants. But now, look at her. She sits hollow and silent. He says that to you, Christoph. But yeah, that's the landlady of the building with the printing press is in. She's the one who reported the crime to Captain Malon. Or at least that's what, or to whoever told Captain Malon. So you're gonna go in?
Yeah,
You're
sure.
gonna talk to the woman. You're gonna go back to the barracks and go to sleep. What are we doing?
I'm gonna ask the woman if she has any other information. Like if she has.
Ask her what she knows. 'Cause
Yeah.
We don't know anything
Okay.
yet.
I'll need a persuade from you to get her out of her state of shock.
Yeah, she sounds like she's in bad shape.
12.
Sure, persuade.
So yeah, you ask her what happens, and I was woken after midnight. A white carriage pulled up outside. There was a knock at the door, not loud, but commanding. When I opened it, I saw an aristo in a dark cloak standing there. dabbing his lips with a woman's lace handkerchief. He asked for Monsieur Raymond, the printer who lodges downstairs. She swallows hard, her hands trembling. I told him where to find Raymond, showed him to the side door. He looked at me, then told me to go inside to lock my door, and I did. But before I shut it, I saw... She hesitates, her eyes darting towards the street. A hand, white as wax, flop from the open carriage door. A woman's hand. I slammed the door and bolted it. Her breath shudders as she continues. Soon after, I heard it. The most terrible sounds from the printer's room. I wanted to scream, to run for help, but I couldn't move. I couldn't move until hours later. Her gaze grows distant, her expression clouding as though something presses against her mind, refusing to be spoken. When she tries to describe the nobleman, her words falter. His face, his eyes... Her voice cuts off, a look of sheer terror flashing across her features. Dark. He had dark eyes. That is all I remember. And nearby, you can see where the carriage must have stopped. Fresh horse manure stains the lane, and something white lies just beyond it. Something laying on the ground. What are you going to do about that?
I'm going to see what it is.
You pick it up and you notice it's a woman's lace handkerchief, blood-stained, embroidered with the monogram M.A. So...
M.A. Marie Antoinette. The king's wife. And she's very hated, you know, because she lives this extravagant lifestyle while everybody else is starving, eating cockroaches.
So, you make your way inside. The printing press is a large room filled with the tools of its trade. 4 tables with angled tops for typesetting stand in neat rows, and 2 massive printing presses loom over the space like silent sentinels. The scent of ink and paper lingers in the air, but another smell overwhelms it. The thick metallic stench of fresh blood. Near the entrance, a headless dog lies in a pool of crimson. Its head rests nearby, lips curled back in a frozen snarl, as though the brave animal had tried to defend its home before being brutally silenced. The wound is clean, as if struck by an impossibly sharp blade. Beyond the dog, the true horror unfolds. Suspended from the rafters, hanging by their feet, are the bodies of the printer, Monsieur Raymond, his wife Jeanette, and their 2 teenage sons, Renard and Thomas. Their throats have been slashed so deeply that the bone is visible beneath the gaping wounds. Pamphlets smeared with dark, dried blood have been stuffed into the mouths of the dead, a final mockery of their work and beliefs. The floor tells the rest of the grisly story. Blood-splattered patterns suggest that buckets were placed beneath the victims to collect their blood. 3 of these buckets, now empty but still stained, sit discarded near the printing presses. Orderly bundles of paper are stacked against one wall, and freshly printed pamphlets are piled on a central table. Copies of What is the Third Estate by Emmanuel Joseph Saez. But something is wrong. The pamphlets are in disarray. Handfuls have been taken and placed back into the press, overprinted with fresh type, not with ink, but with blood of the Raymond family.
Oh, I wonder if this is one of the pamphlets.
The overprinted text reads, "Know your place." And you can all make me a spy hidden roll.
54, which is a pass.
008.
Lots of good rolls.
I got 006.
While Raymond and Jeanette were killed at the typesetting tables, the two young men put up a brief struggle. The blood flow indicates that 17-year-old Renard was still alive when he was hung up next to his dead parents and brother. And you can also make me a track. Any of you have tracking
Tracking.
and your skills?
My skills.
You don't
Let's.
have that.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I passed. My tracking is only 20%, but I got 16.
There appears to have only been one assailant. And you can also make me listen rolls.
All of us.
Yep.
Pass.
Pass.
74.
Like super duper pass.
You hear a faint trembling whimper from beneath a cabinet.
Somebody's still alive.
Younger sister, maybe. We better go look.
Find them.
And you rush over and throw open the cabinet.
Yeah.
A small white puppy with one black ear cowers there, the sole survivor of the massacre. Which one of you reaches out for it, if any of you? Are you any of you gonna...
Yeah.
As you reach out for it, the terrified creature rushes out, its tiny body shaking, desperately whimpering, and jumping up to lick at your face, seeking comfort from the only living souls left in this place. So, after some time, the first light of dawn creeps over the rooftops of Paris as Captain Malon arrives with a contingent of soldiers. The rhythmic clatter of boots against stone silences the remaining onlookers, though their eyes burn with suspicion and anger. Malon dismounts swiftly, his expression unreadable, but his posture rigid with purpose. He strides past the carnage without hesitation, though his jaw tightens as he takes it all in. With a curt motion, he orders his men to secure the area before pulling you aside. "Tell me everything."
Well, it appears that they were printing the pamphlet, What is the Third Estate? And all family members were killed. And their blood was used to type a message onto their pamphlets.
It says, know your place.
Know your place.
Yeah, you give a full report. The door kicked in, the slaughter of the family, the desecrated pamphlets, the message printed in blood, the murdered dog, the buckets, the survivor. Malon listens in grim silence, his steel blue eyes darkening with each revelation. Then you show him... Do you show him the handkerchief?
Yeah.
So, when you show him the handkerchief, his face goes pale. For a moment, he says nothing. Then, stepping closer, his voice drops to barely more than a whisper. "You will not speak of this to anyone, not a soul. If word of what you've seen spreads, I will personally see that you are hanged as traitors. Do you understand?"
Yes.
Yeah.
His gaze sweeps over you, ensuring his words take root. Then, more measured, he continues. "You will report to me again at the Palace of Versailles on June 4th, the day after tomorrow. Bring the handkerchief, bring your notes, and be prepared to present your testimony." His tone makes it clear this is not a request. Outside, the city stirs to life. The crowd still lingers, their mood turned ugly. Rumors spread like fire. The Raymond family was murdered for printing anti-royal pamphlets. Some curse the king. Others mutter vengeance. Eyes look towards your fellow soldiers with deep suspicion. The captain exhales, his expression unreadable. Go. We will speak again soon. Dawn has come, but the night's horrors linger. The day after the massacre... the day after the massacre is yours to recover. One full day to sleep, to gather your strength, and to prepare for what lies ahead. The journey to Versailles is 10 miles southwest, and Captain Malon expects you there by morning. With your orders clear and your destination set, you leave Paris behind in the early light of dawn. As you ride through the capital's outer neighborhoods, the city seems unchanged on the surface. Merchants call their wares, carts rattle over stones, children play in alleyways, but beneath it all simmers a tension you can now recognize. It wasn't just the Raymonds. The city is a powder keg. Soon you reach the wall of the tax farmers general, the customs barrier that encircles Paris. Here, dozens of disconsolate farmers are lined up outside the gates, their wagons groaning with goods. They argue bitterly with collectors in velvet coats and powdered wigs, railing against the exorbitant taxes on grain, wine, and basic necessities. "Thieves!" shouts one farmer, shaking his fist. "You take our bread and give us ash!" Beyond the gates, a different scene awaits. Rows of makeshift taverns and alehouses line the road shabby. Hastily built establishments that spring up just outside the tax wall to avoid the crown's duties on alcohol. The smell of cheap wine and roasting meat fills the air. Men drink and dice in the open, already deep in their cups, though the day is young. From here, the road stretches into the countryside. The noise of the city fades behind you, replaced by rolling hills, cultivated fields, and the quiet rustling of the wind in trees. The journey is peaceful, but you cannot shake the memory of the night before, nor the dark gaze of the aristo in the carriage. Versailles awaits. On arrival, the contrast to the desperate streets of Paris is striking. A shimmering expanse of finely manicured lawns and gardens stretch in all directions, beneath a clear and beautiful summer's day. Exquisitely dressed gentlemen and ladies promenade along the paths, their silks and satins glowing in the sunlight. Stiffly attired servants stand beside gazebos, each one sheltering tables laden with fruit, cheese, cakes, and wine, more than most Parisians might see in a year. A small orchestra plays nearby, the music soft and elegant, adding to the idyllic, almost surreal atmosphere. Kyle's here.
Yay!
Sweet.
Finally! Finally, you're here!
Woohoo!
Sorry
Glad
without
you're
you.
fine. You're here. That's amazing.
Wow.
Laughter rings out, light and carefree. The line of carriages is parked along the sweeping driveways, each more lavish than the last, but one stands out immediately. A lacquered white carriage with red trim. A surly manservant waits nearby, arms crossed. His eyes follow every passerby with suspicion, and he lays a threatening hand on the whip at his belt to anyone who dare linger too near. So, we'll move on. As you pass among the aristocrats, you overhear their low, decorous voices sharing the day's news. Their expressions are thoughtful, though measured. Masks of calm amid the gentle hum of music and privilege. A worrying sign, all the same. An heir who may not live to inherit. Heaven help the crown if the boy dies. Yeah, and you're overhearing like these conversations as you past these aristocrats. And have you heard about the commoners? They continue their little meetings about the third estate. Imagine a parliament of the people, free from crown and church. The monarchy is ailing, you know. The king is nearly bankrupt. It's no secret. The first nods slowly. Even here, with all this splendor, the cracks are starting to show. The crown can't keep this illusion much longer. Among the nobility are Comte Benoit. Jesus Christ.
That's the dad of the
Who you recognize, Christoph, immediately. And also his daughter, Melody.
Oh, the love of your life.
Her golden hair shines in the sun as she walks gracefully with her arm tucked into her father's. As she passes, her gaze lingers on Christoph. There is something secretive in that glance, a fleeting moment of longing. In her youth and privilege, she finds you dashing, handsome, and thrillingly unsuitable. The very impropriety of the notion only fuels her quiet fascination.
Forbidden fruit.
No words are exchanged. Conversation is impossible. The Comte watches her closely, and the disapproval in his eyes is unmistakable. He would never tolerate such a match. But the glance is real, and for a moment, the glittering formality of Versailles blurs with something softer, more human, and far more dangerous. So, you have an opportunity to ask questions to any of the aristocrats if you felt like it.
Well, we know what side they're on, and that'd be their side.
Right.
So they're going to want to have everything stay status quo. Stay the same. Privilege, no worries, no hunger. They get whatever they want. So how could we ask a question that would...
There might be something you need to know that you might want to know. Because you're investigating a murder.
Printing press murder, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a pretty big, I'll just tell you, you've not asked a question that you really should have asked.
Well,
but it's so obvious, I'm surprised you've missed it.
Well, here's what I have a folded up piece of paper in my pouch.
Right.
And I need to get that out now and see what that says.
You know what it says.
What is the third estate?
It's just a
blank, or it doesn't have...
It says exactly what it says on the paper.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it says.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
that's it.
Yeah.
What that says is it. Okay.
So how did that piece of paper get there?
Is that the real major issue?
Well, no, but it might...
You obsess over the wrong thing.
Okay, all right.
So was that left at the murder scene? Is that
They were printing them.
Yes.
Who did it? Who
But
did
like
it? That's
the
the
red.
question.
Okay.
The sergeant was able to find out that it was a single assailant.
Yeah.
Right.
And that woman that Christoph interviewed mentioned a white carriage.
Yeah, that was
And you just saw the white carriage
at the...
parked up with all the other carriages.
Mm-hmm.
So A to B to C to D.
Right, we gotta figure out
Equals.
whose carriage that is.
And to do that, you need to ask
Right.
someone,
Right.
hey, whose carriage is this?
Yeah.
Maybe someone could tell you.
Pizza. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go
Otherwise.
ask. I'm going to go ask.
I'm still trying to get a feel for everything.
I know you are.
Catching up.
Well, I'm going to ask...
Well, but these three, they've heard it all.
I'm going to ask her father. I'm going to go up to him. I'm not going to...
Hey, do you know who's...
Since I-
You could ask him or any aristocrat,
Yeah.
really, but
Yes, sir, I'm investigating the murder at the printing shop that happened a while ago, and I was wondering, could you tell me Who owns that carriage, that white carriage that's decked out with red trim? Okay, it's been
I
proposed.
believe that is Comte Fenalik's carriage.
Comte Fenalik.
Now we need to wait for Susie to get back. So
Okay,
she can
we can't
hear
go-
that reveal.
Okay. I asked her father who owned the carriage, the white carriage with the red trim.
Yeah.
It was Monsieur Comte Fenalik. Remember that name? Yeah, well, we won't remember.
The
because-
owner of the Sedefkar Simulacrum, the thing in 1923 that you're so desperate to find, the pieces. This is that man.
But we don't know that.
Right, as
We don't-
soldiers, you have no idea
Right.
about any of that. But, so, yeah, in 1923, as you are all in your hotel room reading this journal, you see this thing, Comte Fenalik. Oh, wow. Turns out these soldiers were investigating Comte Fenalik. Okay.
Well, what other questions should we be asking?
Well, you're investigating a murder.
Mm-hmm.
You now have a suspect. You think a profiling is in order?
Mm-hmm.
I got one of these
It's like
days.
what-
I'm just gonna rip these training wheels right off and leave you to your own devices.
I mean, what can you tell us about Comte Fenalik?
Yeah, there you go.
Curiosity piqued and suspicions sharpening, you begin to ask discreet questions around the palace grounds. Comte Fenalik, the powdered courtier repeats, fanning himself gently. Ah, yes, he's German, I believe. A recent arrival at court. Quite fashionable, very handsome. He smiles nervously, then leans in. No one seems to know his language. Odd, that. But he is terribly popular. The ladies adore him. Not all take the inquiry so lightly. The mere mention of Fenalik's name, a young noblewoman in a blue gown swoons and faints, collapsing into the arms of her friends. Her companions quickly draw her away and shoo you off with thinly veiled urgency. Elsewhere, a silver-haired gentleman stiffens visibly when the name is spoken. His face goes pale. Excuse me, he says abruptly, bowing stiffly. Moments later, his carriage is seen rolling away at speed, disappearing down the drive. Not everyone flees. An eager young courtier, ambitious and sharp-eyed, grabs your sleeve. You've spoken with him? Have you spoken with Fenalik?
No, I have not.
Oh. I heard the parties at his estate are like nothing else in France. But how does one get an invitation? That's what I need to know. The sun shines bright over the palace gardens. The name Comte Fenalik brings with it a chill. Somebody overhears you and refers you to Madame Brienne, a young woman married to an aged nobleman. With her husband often bedridden and distracted by his ailments, Madame de Brienne has time to amuse herself with everyone else's secrets. She is known as a gossip amongst the court, a notable gossip. Do you seek her out? You want to seek her out?
Mm-hmm, I am.
You find her waiting within the palace, seated beneath a silk-draped canopy, surrounded by giggling ladies in waiting. She welcomes your questions with a delighted smile, eager for gossip. Oh, the Comte Fenalik, she says, her fan fluttering. Oh, a special favorite of the Queen. Or so the whispers say. He arrived Not too long ago, and wasted no time charming everyone with those dark eyes and foreign manners. She leans in conspiratorially, lowering her voice. They say his estate at Poissy is the site of the most extravagant parties, lavish beyond belief. And well, she winks coquettishly. Lavish, lascivious doesn't begin to describe it. She gives a theatrical sigh. Oh, I've never received an invitation myself. Can you believe it? Now I'm terribly curious as to why. The breeze stirs the gardens around you, but her words carry the sweet scent of scandal. And, yeah. Is there anything else you want to ask her?
How do you get...
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead first.
Why are people, like, afraid of him?
Well, I'm not sure. You'd have to ask someone besides me.
I feel like she knows.
Alright, give me a persuade roll.
Where's my persuade at?
Here somewhere. You might not
Well,
know.
50. I passed.
Okay. Well, it's something I hear the servants speak of from time to time. I'm not sure how true it is, but they say the Comte, he demands perfection. Any mistake, any word spoken out of turn, and he has been whipped. His servants. Not just punished, but beaten like animals. Worse than most. They say his brute of a driver carries out the floggings, but the Comte always watches, as if he enjoys it. There was, I heard the story of a boy once, young. The Comte bumped his arm during supper, made him spill wine on that fine coat of his, and then had him flogged so badly that he did not live through the night. That is all I know.
Makes sense.
And it is mostly servant gossip. So, not my normal gossip.
Well, he sounds like he's very off the rail.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like that could commit these murders
Yeah, I don't think it's...
out of the possibility. So,
You ready to go to Captain Malon?
Who's that?
That is your commanding
That's the
officer.
commanding officer that
He's waiting for your
ordered us to investigate
Okay.
this.
Yeah, I think we should tell him.
evidence. So
Mhm.
he wants you guys to testify. He
Yeah.
said.
mm-hmm,
Alright. Captain Malon, and that's the picture of Malon.
mm-hmm.
He awaits your arrival at Versailles with visible impatience, pacing beneath the gilded arches of the palace's north wing. At his signal, you are quickly ushered inside. The interior of the palace, though still grand, bears the marks of fading splendor. The gold leaf is peeling in places. The silks are a little frayed. Dust gathers in the corners of the great chambers. Courtiers move in whispers, gathering in quiet knots beneath the high windows, their voices subdued and wary. Malone leads you deeper through a series of halls until you reach a dim drawing room lit by the pale afternoon light. Inside waits Dr. Lucien Rigaud, who's also out somewhere. Show that Cal, so he knows what he looks like.
Okay.
And that's the guy that was loading bones into the crypts and ordering them.
To go down and
Do that.
take a look at all that.
And he sweats a lot.
Yes, seriously. Very overworked. The physician looks near collapsed. His powdered wig is set askew, his coat stained with sweat, his eyes gleam with a feverish light. He has been tending to the Dauphine in Paris, while continuing to oversee the nightly movements of the dead The Delphine is the heir to the throne. And the strain is taking its toll. Without delay, both men demand your account of the events at the Rue de la Harpe. As you speak, you've already explained it to him, so I'm not going to make you do it again. Rigwalt leans forward, hanging on every word, his fingers trembling slightly as he rests them on the table. Malon stands silently, arms crossed, his eyes narrowing as you recount the details. At the mention of the Comte Fenalik's white carriage, seen at the scene of the murders, both men visibly stiffen. That man, Malon growls, is a threat to the crown. Particularly now, Rigwalt adds, with the people so close to breaking. You produce the handkerchief, embroidered with the initials M.A. Rigwalt takes it gently, his fingers brushing the stained cloth with reverence and unease. I will present this to the Queen in private, as a first opportunity. If she can be persuaded to withdraw her favor, we may yet avert disaster. Before another word can be exchanged, a scream cuts through the corridor. A high, terrible shriek echoing from somewhere within the palace. Moments later, news spreads like wildfire. The Dauphine is dead. Louis Joseph, heir to the throne, only 7 years old, has succumbed to consumption in Paris, which is what they called, I forgot. I think it's like tuberculosis, TB, that's it. Gasps ripple through the drawing room and the halls beyond. Ladies swoon, some with true sorrow, others because it is the thing to be seen to do. Gentlemen move quickly to catch them, some in acts of chivalry, others not missing the opportunity to gather up a fainting lady. Servants begin to scurry through the palace, making urgent travel preparations for the royal couple. Within the hour, it is announced, the king and queen will depart Versailles for the Château de Meudon, just outside Paris. The mood of Versailles shifts. Morning drapes itself over the palace like a shadow, but beneath it, something else coils. Through the pandemonium stalks Comte Fenalik.
Yeah, he looks good.
He is dressed impeccably. His wig sits perfectly, and the buckles on his shoes gleam. His posture is composed, his movements compact and deliberate. Unlike the other aristocrats who flutter and gesticulate, Fenalik is still, more predator than peer. His expression is stern, yet there is the faintest curl of satisfaction at the corner of his mouth. His gaze locks with yours, Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
The one who saw him through the carriage window.
Mm-hmm.
That gaze is intense, suffocating, impossible to hold. Make me a power roll.
36.
So you pass extreme. Oh no. Almost extreme. But yeah,
You are able to withstand the gaze.
Oh, yeah.
And you do not look away.
I got it in for you.
And the wolfish grin on his face
Yeah.
kind of begins to fade
Yeah.
as he sees you staring back. He approaches, unhurried, his steps silent on the marble floor. Do I know you? He asks, voice smooth and laced with mock courtesy. Have we met before?
Earlier today, yes, indeed.
You seem familiar. I never forget a face. His manner is cold, assured, superior. Every word drips with malice. Such a shame about the boy. Consumption, yes. Tragic. I shall be sure to comfort the Queen personally.
They're friends, the Queen and him.
He leans in slightly, his voice a whisper of knives. Tell me, did I hear correctly that the good Dr. Walt has been exhuming graveyards of late?
He has.
Oh, how dreadful. If he brought such a sickness to the Dauphine, that would be a terrible, unforgivable lapse. He lingers just long enough for discomfort to fester. Then, without waiting for a response, he bows with mocking elegance and departs, leaving behind only silence and dread. With the death of the Dauphine, Malon's hopes of quietly persuading the Queen to distance herself from the Comte have crumbled. Any chance of withdrawing royal favor has vanished, with the royal family's sudden departure to Moudon. In the wake of the chaos, action must replace diplomacy. Captain Malon calls you to a private chamber, his face grim and resolute. We no longer have the luxury of appealing to Her Majesty's good senses. The Queen will not be dissuaded by warnings, and Fenalik grows bolder by the day. He leans forward, voice low. We must catch him, but to do that I need evidence. Something direct, undeniable, and damning. I need proof that links Fenalik to the murders at the Rue de la Harpe, or to any crime which cannot be ignored by the Crown. He stands and begins pacing. You will go to Poissy, reconnoitre the Comte's mansion, infiltrate the grounds, quietly, unseen. You must not raise suspicion, or alert the Comte in any way. Avoid him at all costs. He is clearly dangerous. Focus instead on gathering intelligence. Where might he keep records, correspondence, something that ties him to the death or to some other vile deed? He stops and looks each of you in the eye. Bring me enough information to stage a full raid. Once I have that, I can have the mansion surrounded and take him with force and with proof. He hands you a sealed letter. The wax bears his personal sigil. This will authorize you to requisition whatever supplies or horses you require. Spare no effort. This is no longer a matter of quiet politics. It is a matter of justice and survival. The sky over Versailles is beginning to deepen toward evening as you make your preparations to depart for Poissy. The air is warm and still, but the weight of your task ahead hangs heavy. As you leave the palace grounds, your path takes you through the quiet gardens where hedges grow tall and the scent of roses lingers. Give me a spot hidden, all of you.
58.
Oh, I failed.
I passed.
Is that a fail for you, Victor?
No, he passed.
Oh, I never passed.
So you just assumed you failed. So, Christoph, there alone among the greenery, you spy Melody Benoit.
Oh.
Her father is nowhere near, occupied with a knot of nobles discussing the Dauphine's death and the future of the nation. Melody, however, walks in solitude. Her golden hair catches the light of the setting sun, and sorrow softens her unusually bright expression. She is mourning, quietly and sincerely, her steps slow among the gravel paths. She notices you and pauses. Her expression brightens at your presence, and for a moment, it is as if the weight of the court and country fall away. "I hoped I might see you again," she says quietly, glancing around to make sure no one is watching. "These gardens feel like the only place untouched by all the sorrow. Everyone is talking about the Dauphine, but no one knows what will come next. I fear the world is changing, and not for the better." She hesitates, then looks into your eyes. But when I see you, I feel like there's still something beautiful in it all. Just for a moment. She glances down the path and lowers her voice. My father thinks I'm a child. He never listens. Not really. Always talking at me, not to me. I'm supposed to smile and nod and marry whoever best suits his plans? She tilts her head slightly, studying your face. You look troubled. Is everything all right, Christophe? This is your chance to speak freely.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the matter?
Surprised.
Yeah.
Tell her your heart wants to be in her presence.
Okay, just stop.
Her eyes fill with worry. Please, Christophe, tell me, what is bothering you? A silence lingers between you. Then, with trembling breath, Melody leans in and places a brief, heartfelt kiss on your lips. It's innocent, genuine, and deeply moving. For a moment, the sun shines in your world. After today, all the rest is darkness.
So you'll hold on to this moment of brightness
Yeah.
because this investigation is going to be very dark. I have an idea.
You have a chance to discuss your mission.
Okay.
And you can requisition any supplies you think you might need for this.
I wonder,
Obviously horses.
right?
There.
I think we need to go through the carriage because that came
Well,
from
he
the.
had,
I'm sorry.
I'm going to say the carriage is no longer there, that Fenalik has left.
Oh,
Back to Poissy.
well then.
Because he left after talking to you. He was on his way
Right.
leaving, so.
Okay. Well, I should have spoke up sooner. But I somehow.
That would have... Your chance to do that was when you saw the carriage when you walked into Versailles.
Yeah,
But of course his driver was guarding it, so...
I know.
So how do we find evidence?
And we're going to
But we're
his
supposed
place.
to.
Go to his residence anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Captain Malon
We're
wants you to
supposed
go to his
infiltrate
house,
his residence.
Yeah.
find evidence, find where he keeps records, perhaps.
Because I'm just thinking about, he was at the murder scene.
And you've heard from the gossip that he has these crazy parties at
Right.
his house, so...
And then I'm worried about the paleness of that woman that was in the carriage with him.
Right, you saw him kissing her
Yes.
while she was pale, and then that woman told you she saw a pale hand fall out of the carriage.
Right. So,
Fall out of the carriage? Or
Flop
Yeah.
out
Okay.
when the door opened.
Okay, I thought
yeah.
Not,
I
not like
was
a
like-
severed hand.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So now we have to decide what it is we're going to requisition, what we need for our investigation at his house. First of all,
Yeah.
we need some weapons.
How
You
about
know.
a musket?
Endeavors. We're going to have to.
I have
Well,
a
you already
pistol
have-
and a saber.
A lot of
Okay.
weapons. You have a...
And
That's right.
That's right. saber
Lover boy
pistol.
here has a rapier and a bayonet and a musket.
Okay.
And what do you have, Kyle?
I have a musket and fighting and a bayonet and
Okay.
dodge.
Yeah, I got all that too.
So if you
Okay.
wanted to take an extra pistol with you, you can. Or
Yeah,
or two pistols. Whatever you want. The Captain Malon has said, you can get whatever you want.
I'll take 2 pistols.
Because remember, a musket, you fire once,
Mhm.
it takes 4 combat rounds
That's what
to
I'm
reload
thinking.
that thing.
Oh yeah, I probably wouldn't
But
do
I
that.
carry 2, so I'll have 2 shots, right?
Right.
Because I carry 2 of them. It
2
says.
muskets?
Pistols.
It says I
Oh,
carry
okay.
2 pistols.
She's an officer,
yeah.
so she
Oh,
carries
okay.
pistols and a saber instead.
Okay. I'll get a pistol also.
All right.
Yeah, as well.
Anyone who
I
wants
will.
pistols can get a
Yeah.
pistol.
Yeah.
It's a sidearm. And you get horses. And some hardtack,
We're gonna need something for darkness.
so you can eat on the journey.
Lantern. Probably. Since
Something.
you know.
Light
Candles,
sources
maybe some candles. Some water. Bandages.
Yeah. That's good.
All right, so yeah, you get all your supplies gathered up, and you head out to Poissy. The road southwest from Paris winds through the vast, brooding expanse of the Forêt de Saint-Germain, which is the forest of Saint Germain. Though the sun hangs high in the summer sky, the shadows beneath the trees stretch long and deep. The woods are thick, ancient, and unsettling. The journey is quiet, unnaturally so. Other travelers are few, and those you pass hurry along with heads bowed and eyes averted. Wagons creak by without greeting. Riders glance your way, but offer no words. No songs, no laughter, no gossip carries on the wind. The birds, too, are silent. You feel watched. The forest clings to you as you ride, the silence oppressive, the hush disturbed only by the steady clop of hooves and the occasional whisper of leaves overhead. There is something in the stillness, something that waits. By late afternoon, you emerge into the outskirts of Poissy. The town lies nestled beneath the long shadow of the collegial Notre-Dame de Poissy, its great steeple rising above the clustered rooftops. A narrow square sits at the town's center, surrounded by tall, narrow houses. The buildings lean close to another, their windows shuttered against the growing gloom. The townsfolk pass you with cautious glances, quick to lower their eyes. Doors creak open, only to be shut again. As the day wanes, a hush falls over the streets. Mothers call their children indoors. Lamps are lit behind closed curtains. Doors are bolted. The streets begin to empty. Even the inn keeps its doors shut tight. So you arrive, I assume, at the inn, because you get there, it's getting late by the time you get there.
Yeah.
So
And he wasn't
if you
that-
want, but I won't force you if you want to, because I guess you don't really need to stay there. You might want to go straight to,
His house. Yeah.
The people of Poissy
Yeah.
do not speak loudly. They do not linger. Something here is wrong.
Yeah.
So you're in Poissy now, and this is what you see. Everyone seems very on edge.
And he was not that far ahead of us anyway, because he left and then we left.
Right.
So that's another thing too. We're just probably not an hour behind it, maybe less than that. 30 minutes.
Should we ask people like what's going on if they know anything?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, but and I think even the people passing on the opposite side of the road as he was going ahead of us, it's like wherever that carriage goes, it's doom and gloom and
You begin to ask about Comte Fenalik. First, the responses are polite but evasive. Non-committal nods, vague shrugs, muttered apologies. A baker stacking his shutters says only, "The Comte keeps to himself." A washerwoman crossing the square shakes her head quickly and hurries on without a word. There is tension in their voices, in their posture. Everyone is being careful. You press further, but you quickly realize that fear, not loyalty, keeps their tongues still. Fenalik has eyes in the town. Spies, servants, collaborators. None can be trusted. and everyone knows it. The locals eye strangers warily, and you are no exception. And make me a hard persuade. So this will be half your persuade skill.
I got 44.
38, yeah.
I got 24.
You don't even
You
have
might.
persuade, man.
Persuade. Yeah, you passed.
Yep, passed.
Eventually, a flicker of honesty breaks through the mask.
Persuade on yours.
Ooh, good.
Eventually, a flicker of honesty breaks through the mask. A hunched old woman, hunched by the well, pauses as... Or sorry, a hunched old man, hunched by the well, pauses as he gathers water. You ask again. He does not answer immediately. Then his hand begins to tremble on the bucket's handle. Please, he whispers, eyes never meeting yours. I've said nothing. Leave me be. And he hurries away, sloshing water behind him, his shoulders tight with dread. The fear is real. By nightfall, the streets of Poissy have fallen into silence. Lamps flicker behind thick curtains, but no one walks the cobbled roads. The town slumbers, not peacefully, but with a fearful stillness that weighs on every shuttered window and bolted door. A single cobbled road leads up through the town towards the estate of Comte Fenalik. The mansion, so you guys, we're doing it now, right? Just in sort of
Yeah, we're
agreement?
heading up there.
Alright.
Yeah, we're going.
The mansion's grounds are surrounded by a high brick wall, topped with black iron spikes.
Ooh.
The barrier rises above head height, its surface slick with moisture and age. From the road, only the second story and steep roof of the house can be seen above the wall's rim. The gate hangs open, and 4 servants stand at attention. The building itself is immediately unsettling. Fenalik's mansion is a strange, disjointed structure. A 3-story patchwork of clashing styles. Classical Greek columns flank a rusted iron portico. Medieval buttresses support mismatched stone wings. Crumbling Gothic turrets twist skyward, some newly built in the style of ancient ruins, as if made to appear centuries old. No 2 windows are the same. Some are round, others pointed. One appears to have been designed upside down. It is less a home than a statement, a declaration of wealth, power, and eccentric taste. Even at this distance, the building radiates unease. So, that is what you are presented with. There's 4 guards, an open gate, a wall with iron spikes around the entire estate.
Okay, we're gonna kill the guards or just
Can we jump the fence?
Well, it's,
You could climb over the fence.
I don't think that we could jump
It is
Oh
climbable.
yeah, like climb over it.
I do not have climb.
And remember, Captain Malon made it clear to remain secret.
yes.
Don't let Fenalik know,
that you're there, right? So we can't kill
So-
guards.
because the whole point is you're trying to get evidence against him.
I think we should sneak in.
So Joseph Hugo may be our best bet at scouting the property.
Okay.
Because is that your talent? My note here says you're a first-class scout, forger,
Okay.
and Vivandier, whatever that is, but a terrible soldier.
A terrible soldier. Okay.
Bugle. A kindly ear
But you're
for
great at
woes,
scouting and foraging.
but a heart of stone if asked for a loan.
Anyone who wants to can climb over the wall.
Yeah, I'd like to do that for sure.
How
And
about
my
Mikael?
superior just asked me to, or said
Wait,
that
what?
would be.
Just
How about
scout,
you?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think we should.
I mean, I'm fine with us all going over.
Yeah.
But I think we should send Joseph to scout to
yeah, just to get the lay
So
of the
you can
land.
go
see. So that we're
first.
not all running.
All right, so
Through
you'll
the
be the
property.
first to go up then, Joseph.
Okay,
That's fair. And I'll be lookout.
So roll me a climb.
15.
You climb the wall, careful on the slick brick and jagged iron spikes. Metal bites at your gloves as you balance for a heartbeat at the top. Now make me a jump roll. As you drop silently into the ground below.
48.
And what's your jump?
55.
You land in a dense garden of roses. Overgrown, tangled, and vast. The air is heavy with their scent. Cloying and strange. The vegetation offers perfect cover. Prickly and thick. Swallowing sound and sight alike. These are no ordinary roses. Their colors defy expectations. Black, aquamarine, turquoise, silver,
Oh.
grass green, and more,
Holy cow.
all growing in wild profusion. Their petals are lush, their stems thorny, and all seem to be impossibly luxuriant health. Blackberries, brambles, and other thorn bushes have overrun the paths, left unattended for too long. It is a garden that invites concealment, but offers little comfort. Make me a dex roll as you try to navigate these brambles.
7.
Yeah.
I've had some good rolls
You
this
slip
day.
in and out of the bushes without any issue. And you see before you paths laid with black gravel that wind through the garden, some half hidden beneath creeping vines. At regular intervals, these paths split around ornamental fountains, each one filled not with water, but with a reddish pink liquid that glistens strangely in the moonlight. Do you want to take a sip so test it out? See if you can discern what it is, or do you?
I don't think
Just
I'll
a little finger dip.
be. No, I don't think
You
I'll
should
even be
investigate.
trying that.
The statues. Well, okay, so do you guys want to follow at this point, or are you going to wait for her to come back?
Yeah.
No, I'm okay with us following.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
So I
follow.
need all of you to make me climb rolls now.
Hey, do I even have
That was
one?
real fun.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
second one under your skill.
Yeah.
His skills are different though.
Oh, his are
But he
different.
probably
Yeah,
has it
yeah,
because
he
you're all
has one.
soldiers. So.
I don't know.
So you'll be trying to roll under 20.
21!
I failed.
I failed as well.
I got 21.
So, yeah, you get up there and you two are having a hard time. You could help them. At this point, you could assist them with a strength roll, try to pull them
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
I roll a strength roll
No,
too.
you're
you're-
well
you're-
beyond
Oh,
this.
well, I'm
remember?
well
You're in the
beyond.
brambles and the black
Okay.
paths
okay.
and the fountain.
Okay, alright.
33.
The memory is a
Good.
lemming, I swear.
I got 33.
Okay, so yeah, you hoist. You have to pick which one you're hoisting up first.
General.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. The sergeant.
Sergeant.
So you help the sergeant up,
Makes sense.
and now make me another strength roll.
004.
Yeah, and you hoist up Mikael. And now I need jump rolls from all of you.
Okay.
Not me, because I'm
No,
already
you've already
there.
done it.
Fail.
I failed.
87. Wait, 87. Yeah, 87.
All three of you take 1 damage
Okay.
as you land face first into some thorny bushes. And then a dex roll from each of you.
001.
Pass.
Failed that too.
I got a
Another
001.
One more damage as you get really messed up by these thorns. Get stuck
I got 001.
temporarily. So that's, yeah, you're great. You just... I don't know, you prance, you float over the vines. It appears like you're floating, you're so dainty and you step so lightly. Oh, you get right through it. So, and then you arrive slowly behind. You see as they come up behind you in the brambles, and they get to the bloody fountain.
Yeah.
You don't know if it's bloody though. 'Cause nobody's drank it.
No, nobody's going to drink it.
But let's just assume it looks like it could be blood or wine, perhaps.
Should one of us try it and see? I'll try it.
All right.
I'll try
Make
it.
me a Constitution.
Where's that? Oh, okay. The C-O-N.
Yeah.
I failed.
So you get buzzed as this is mostly red wine and water.
Okay.
So you get a little buzz going. So, okay. But you get a little metallic tinge there at the end.
Oh.
Oh.
The statues atop the fountains are deeply disturbing. Saturn, his eyes wide and frenzied as he devours his own son. Cupid, small and cherubic, chewing the heart of a weeping Psyche. Death, dressed in a powdered wig and nobleman's coat, one skeletal hand extended as though inviting a partner to dance. Most blasphemous of all is the Madonna, serene and sacred. Actually, I need a spot hidden for you to notice this.
All of us.
At first, it just appears like a statue of the Madonna.
I failed.
I got 64.
I got 7.
That's 94, buddy.
Oh, that's 94.
Yeah.
All right, Joseph,
Oh.
you notice this statue of the Madonna is serene and sacred, save for the hunger in her eyes as she gazes down at the child in her arms.
Yeah. Ooh.
And make me... Oh. Actually, no, never mind. Okay. You don't need to make another roll. You're good. So... as you're sneaking through the gardens, carriages begin to arrive, rumbling up the cobbled town streets to the Comte's estate.
Must be going to have a party. A soiree.
A carriage approaches, clattering up the darkened street from the heart of Plessy. Lanterns flickering and hoofs striking sparks from the stones. The great iron gates stand open. The carriage rolls through and comes to a smooth stop before the warped and towering facade of the house. The door opens, and one by one, figures descend, aristocrats dressed in evening finery, their silks and satins catching the moonlight. Some chatter lightly, others step with quiet purpose. Their faces are powdered, their smiles thin. Footmen appear immediately, guiding them toward the great entrance. Some hold lanterns aloft, casting strange shadows across the bricks. Others, grimmer-faced and heavy-set, brandishing long whips. Not for the guests, but for the coach drivers. And you can make me another spot hidden, all of you.
Pass.
Tell me if it's a regular or hard success.
Regular.
Right.
You
That's
failed,
6 or
dude.
9.
That's a 9.
I got a
How are
28.
you able to tell that if it's a 9?
What's your
Because-
spot hidden?
70.
Ooh, that's a hard, yeah.
Because 6 is not on the 10 die.
That's what it looks like to me. So,
Okay. You dyslexic kid?
no! It looks like 60.
Well,
We'll just have to keep a close eye.
Either way, you don't see shit. But Joseph does. Well, for those of you who got regular successes, you see as the guests hesitate at the threshold, looking disgusted. Joseph, you, however, catch a glimpse of a flayed human cadaver in papal robes in the entrance as the door swings closed.
Whoa.
Cracking the lashes, they shout orders to be off, and the carriage is driven away, turning in a wide circle before heading back down the road towards Poissy. The wheels crunch against gravel, growing fainter with each rotation, till they vanish into the distance. Do you want to approach the mansion now? Try and sneak up and get a look inside.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
What else could we do? Reconnaissance.
The coach should be here.
Ooh, that would be a nice time to check it out.
Is that guarded or not?
Yeah, maybe it's all put away inside of a
There is a
carriage house.
carriage house in the back of
Aha!
the mansion of the estate. You can see that.
So we better check that out first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Alright, okay, so as you move closer, the mansion looms overhead, monstrous and wrong. No part of the structure seems to meet the eye with reason or balance. The roofline sags and swells like the spine of a dying beast. The walls tilt subtly, as if ready to tumble apart at any moment. Not a single corner meets at a right angle.
Oh my gosh.
The entire edifice appears to lean in upon itself and upon you, and I need all four of you to make sanity checks.
Oh, I got 11.
13!
Passed. There.
50.
What's your saying?
55.
So yeah, none of you lose any sanity.
What?
None of you lose any sanity.
Okay.
The lintel above the grand door protrudes outward over the stairs, casting an uneven shadow. Its presence is oppressive, like a held breath. The garden has been deliberately cleared on all sides around the mansion, forming a perimeter of open ground that leaves no concealment near the building itself.
Uh-oh.
So, for those of you who want to get up closer, up against the building, to hide in its shadow, I need a stealth roll.
I didn't do that.
32.
Wait, do I need stuff?
Ooh, you got
passed.
7, buddy.
Yeah, so did I.
007?
Two passes.
Oh. I failed. I'm only rolling big numbers today.
What about you? Did you fail or pass? What's your
Pass.
stat?
She passed.
Okay.
Everybody passed but me.
Alright.
You could be a lookout.
So, okay, you need to now make a dex roll.
Wait,
So you've...
Everybody?
No. I'm talking... It's the person who failed.
Okay.
So, yeah, make me a dex roll as you need to leap for the
23.
shadows.
And my dex is 55.
Okay, so just as someone's stepping outside and about to see you, you jump and roll across the ground into the shadows. You wait, count the rhythm of the shadows, and then run. Gravel crunches beneath your boots as you cross the gap and throw yourselves flat against the mansion wall. You are not seen, not yet. Now make me a listen roll, all four of you.
I
47.
What's your listen?
My listen is
75. Ooh, you're a good listener. I failed mine.
I failed.
That's why Melody likes them. So,
That's probably
70, right?
Yes.
for those of you who do hear, from your place at the mansion wall, a sound cuts through the night. Laughter. Uproarious, drunken laughter spills from the windows of the mansion's ground floor. The shutters are open, and the light inside is golden, flickering with candle flame. With care and caution, you creep closer. Then you hear it. The sharp, repeated crack of a whip. Each strike draws a fresh chorus of titters, howls, and breathless giggles. Something obscene is happening inside.
P. Diddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
all eyes.
Sure.
Grandma didn't even know what that wouldn't know what that meant like a month ago. All eyes inside the room are fixed on a singular scene as you steal close enough to peer through the window. Inside, the dining room is awash in decadence. The guests are dissolute, their wigs and collars askew, their faces flushed from drink. Every one of them wears a mask,
Uh-oh.
some elaborate, others crude, but all their eyes gleam through the holes with manic delight. All are aristocrats, and all have clearly had too much wine. They circle the grand dining table like revelers at a grotesque carnival. The table itself is laden with food, towering piles of sweetmeats, overflowing baskets of bread, gleaming roast fowl, and dishes too strange to name. In the center of it all, framed by the feast, stands a simpering man, dressed as Marie Antoinette. A towering wig sits upon his head. Piled high in her fashion, he shrieks with laughter, eyes watering as the whip cracks across his padded backside. Was one of you Pressy? Christoph Pressy, yes. Is one of your last names Babin? No.
Babbitt is one of the extras.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Pressy, you make me a no roll. So, education. That's an education.
Education 70, so I gotta get into that.
000.
That's 100.
Yeah.
That's critical failure. You're struck dumb as you're looking into the site. The one wielding the whip is a woman. She wears a heavy coronation cloak trimmed with ermine, unmistakably fashioned in the style of the king's ceremonial garb.
Mine.
Does someone know?
So, the king.
Ermine?
Or
Do you know what ermine is?
Ermine.
Ermine?
It's a fur, a real fur.
Gotcha. I didn't know that, so that's good to know. So, she is dressed as Louis XVI.
Mm-hmm.
With each strike, the man playing Marie cries out with theatrical delight, and the crowd erupts anew, jeering, clapping, and swaying in their drunken revel. It is a scene of mockery, of indulgence, of madness. I need a hard spot hidden roll.
Oh, I passed. An extreme pass. I got one.
I got
Oh,
13.
you got 13. I bet you got it.
What do I have?
Your spot hidden 65. Yeah. Yep.
70, yeah, okay, I'm good.
But you
I
have to
need
get
hard,
the hard
so it's
one.
half value.
So it's
Half the 70s. 45, right?
Wait, where is it?
Okay, right here, 35.
Yeah. So you failed.
Okay.
So, you two, Christoph and
Mm-hmm.
Mikkel, you notice as the scene in the dining hall reaches fever pitch, the double doors suddenly swing open as Comte Fenalik enters, and you two swear that you don't see his hands touch the handles. The doors just open before him, and the atmosphere in the room changes instantly. Laughter dies, movement stills, all eyes turn to the Comte. There is fear in their faces. Yes, but also something else. Anticipation. Hunger. Mon amour, Fenalik murmurs, his voice low and velvety, addressing the man dressed as the queen. So beautiful, and so doomed. Continue. At his word, the woman dressed as Louis XVI renews the whipping. and by now it is no longer play. She strikes viciously. The man, as queen, cries out in real pain, his body twisting to escape the blows. Blood splatters across the tablecloth. He tries to crawl away, but she drives him forward, whipping him along the banquet table. Platters crash to the floor, dishes are shattered beneath trampling feet. At last, he reaches the table's end. There is nowhere left to run, and with a final blow, she knocks him to the floor. And then the crowd descends. Dozens of masked aristocrats sweep forward in a sudden, shocking tide, kicking and stomping the fallen figure. He howls beneath their feet. The violence is frenzied, ecstatic. Fenalik stands at the room's center, unmoved. He waits an uncomfortable amount of time, long enough for bruises to form and bones to crack, before raising one pale, manicured hand. The crowd stops instantly. And Fenalik steps forward, kneels, and gently lifts the man to his feet, kisses him lightly on the cheek, ruffles his hair. The Marie Antoinette wig falls away. "Look after him," he says. The valet steps forward and summons 2 footmen. They help the injured man out, supporting his weight as they disappear into the corridor beyond. The moment they are gone, the room forgets him. Fenalik turns to the woman king, offering his arm. "Come," he says with a radiant smile. "It is time to dance." He leads her from the dining room into the ballroom, and the crowd follows. And I need an intelligence roll from all of you.
I failed.
18.
002.
A lot of 0-0s.
Wait, no, I failed. Sorry.
Alright.
I failed by 1.
So,
Passed.
the passing people here, that wig is exactly the sort of proof that Captain Malon could use to authorize a raid on the property.
Oh my.
Wait, who said that?
I did.
Okay. Okay, I was like...
That's what these two realize.
Okay.
And they can inform you if they so choose.
We need to get that wig, guys.
Okay, that sounds
Get the
wonderful.
wig!
So as they transition into the ballroom, you have a chance to climb over the threshold into the windowsill, or over the windowsill into the building. So I'm going to need a climb and a stealth. Whoever wants to attempt it.
I'll
Okay.
stay back.
So
I'm
first
not-
you
I'm
need to
not
try and
doing
climb into the window.
I got a 20.
65. Oh, you
You
failed just by a little
wait,
bit.
Failed.
where's your climb?
Just by a
Where's my
little bit
climb?
Oh, yeah, you passed it. You
Okay,
climbed
yeah, 40.
So
Okay.
hard to pass.
So Kristoff and Joseph both go to the window, and
We-
Joseph, you just shove Kristoff aside. He's like, "Get out of here, man! I'm doing this first." And now I need a stealth. And you notice as you climb inside, all of the internal rooms are furnished in a Baroque style, with artwork and statuary dating back many centuries. The furniture is gilded and ostentatious, and none of it is comfortable. So stealth.
Pass.
Okay. You grab the wig, and you see the blood trail from the whipping boy leading down the hall.
Where they took him out.
Yeah, indicating that he was carried gently at first, but once out of sight, it becomes a bloody smear, and a stray red handprint on the wall shows that he was briskly dragged along the corridor and through a stout door, which 2 footmen, you can just barely see, like the edge of their silhouette down the hall. They stand in front of this door. So, you've got the wig. You're inside.
I'd say that should be enough, but I don't know if we want to keep going. I feel like that's enough for the...
Can I be trial
Great.
climbing?
She's already
No.
on the way, man. Go down.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can if you
Well,
want.
I'm not-
If you really want to go inside, you can go inside.
47.
Is that a fail?
Am
No, that's
I-
a pass.
Now give me a
Yeah.
stealth roll.
Pass stealth.
Where are you going?
He's following
He
you.
just wants to be a
Okay.
part of the show.
72.
That's a fail.
Uh-oh.
All right.
You're gonna get us all
Okay,
killed.
So
Loud.
you hear a loud bang behind you, and you turn around and you see Kristoff. And you now both need to make me luck rolls. Or sorry, you hear footsteps.
Okay.
Before you make any rolls, you hear footsteps. What do you do?
Hide.
Okay, good. Now you don't have to make a luck roll. You
Yeah.
duck behind the furniture.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna
Get out of
need.
here.
Okay, so yeah, a guy comes in and looks around, and then he leaves. And so it must have been the wind. And he goes over to the window and he closes the window. Is what he does, and then he leaves.
Uh-oh.
So you on the outside hear the window close and then latch shut.
I'm gonna have to figure out how to get out of here.
And so what do you guys outside want to do right now?
They have the wig inside though, right? They have it still. They're not like...
Yeah, they got it inside.
Yes,
I
and
would
they're
say-
now in there. Do you want to leave or continue to
I guess we'll
look
just
around?
wait. Yeah, we'll wait or look around. Or...
Are you gonna go
Yeah.
into the coach? The white?
Yeah, I could do that.
You slip around the side of the mansion, keeping to the shadows, eventually coming to the ballroom windows. And within, it glows with flickering candlelight. The floor is a masterwork of dark parquetry, polished to a mirror sheen that reflects the masked faces and gleaming shoes of those within. Unlike most grand ballrooms, there are no chairs arranged along the walls, no space for rest, no room for retreat. Overhead, the ceiling is adorned not with heavenly cherubs or celestial radiance, but a vivid, fiery depiction of the Fourth Crusade's sack of Constantinople. Flames engulf Byzantine domes, knights batter gilded doors, and terrified citizens are dragged into the streets. It is a vision of holy war and ruin. On a small stage at the end of the room stands the Delphine. And I need you to make a sanity roll.
Everybody?
The people, not you, you're not there. You're inside.
Wait, so you...
Remember?
Oh.
They're going around outside seeing another room, but you're inside the dining room.
I passed.
Let's see. I passed.
Okay, you don't lose any sanity. Or so it appears at first. But the truth is more grotesque. The boy is too small, his posture too stiff, his face white with powder, the eyes shadowed into hollow pits. It is not a child returned from death. It is a dwarf, dressed in the clothes of Louis Joseph, heir to the throne. He stands in misery and fear. Beside him stands a woman with rugged cheeks and a tired elegance. She whispers softly to him, her hand holding his tightly, offering comfort, but his fear is too great. His hands tremble, his knees threaten to buckle. He is a mockery made flesh, an abominable jest staged for the amusement of monsters. The horror of the display surges through you, and then, as the moment settles into place, it gives way to something colder. Outrage. Now, back inside, you have a chance now to go investigate more or try to go out the window again. You have to open the window, and
Yeah.
what are you going to do? Each of you. Make up
I'm
your
gonna
minds.
try to get help.
Well, I'm trying to think.
All right, make me a luck roll.
Okay, I'm gonna try to get out. Okay.
Or actually, yeah, just go ahead and make me a luck roll.
005.
All right, you're able to quietly open the window again and slip out.
And leave it open for me.
And what about you?
I feel like with all that's going on, man, this needs to be turned into authorities. But all they would have would be our...
That's why you're here. Come on, you are the authorities.
Yeah, I know.
You're getting evidence.
I know. That's what I mean. We need more evidence.
Yeah, you can keep looking for more.
For more evidence. I think I need to do that. Something's telling me I need to do that.
You're all by yourself.
Yeah, but he's leaving the door open, or the window open. So
She's our stealthy scout.
yeah, so I'm gonna try to find some more stuff.
Okay. So you make your way to the grand foyer. It is the entry hall is dominated by the skinless Pope, this flayed human cadaver in papal robes. Which is also actually make me a intelligence roll.
I was thinking about going
Well,
down.
you don't even have to. You know, this is evidence enough. If this thing,
Yeah.
you know, and honestly, even the statue of the Madonna would be enough.
Because once we go back and give a report, then they're gonna send everybody out.
Right?
to-
Captain
So
Malon wants to
he's-
raid the mansion.
He wants to raid it, so he's gonna see the guy that got pulled down into the basement. He's gonna still be there, dead.
Most likely.
Yeah, he's probably a goner. Okay, so I'm ready to leave now.
Thank God.
Okay. Okay. Just need a little reassurance from my comrades.
So before we do that, though, those of you watching the ballroom, following the grotesque mockery, Comte strides into the ballroom, as I described, with the masked aristocrats trailing behind him. Though their steps are slower, and their laughter faded. Their expressions have changed. They do not like this room. They do not like what happens here. And this is the room with the Dauphine, you know, the fake Dauphine or whatever. As Fenalik approaches the stage, the rough woman gently releases the dwarf's hand and steps to one side. "It is time for your masterpiece, Dietrich Zahn," Fenalik announces. The dwarf recoils as though slapped. "It is time for the music from beyond." Zahn begins to protest at once, words tumbling from his lips in panic. No, please, the music isn't ready. I haven't practiced enough, and the strings are old. They'll snap. You won't like it, Comte. I know you won't. Please, let me try again another time. Just a few more days. A single night, please. But his pleas falter beneath the weight of his terror. Fenalik's gaze hardens, his eyes narrow. Zahn freezes, and then, like a puppet drawn by invisible strings, he raises the violin. His fingers tremble on the fretboard, and the bow lifts. He draws the first note. And then I need you to make me a luck roll, just you, as you're trying to leave.
Probably not. 93.
93.
Okay, that's definitely a fail. It is a shriek of a sound, a wrenching, caterwauling cry that rips through the air like a blade. The guests stagger back, hands rising instinctively to their ears. Something about the sound tears at the mind. Fenalik smiles like a wolf. Before the moment can spiral further, the woman steps forward. Come, come, she calls brightly, cutting through the silence. We cannot dance to that. Let's have a wedding march instead. And she takes Fenalik's hand and that of the woman dressed as Louis XVI, raising them together with theatrical flair. I now pronounce you man and king. There's a beat of stunned silence, and then the room erupts with forced, frenzied laughter. Long live the king, the aristos cry, grasping eagerly at the distraction. The spell is broken for now. Fenalik stands motionless, the mass of laughing courtiers swirling around him. But his smile is faint. His smile is faint, but his eyes are black. Very well, he says. But you will play the music, Dietrich, at the Grand Carnival of Animals. And if you do not, he leans in slightly, your next costume will be that of a suckling pig. Without another word, Fenalik turns and leaves the ballroom, ascending the staircase to his chamber. The party is over. The aristocrats, now pale and giddy, hasten to leave. Some cling to each other, others chatter with false bravado. The thrill of wickedness lingers. A servant rushes to summon the carriages. Confusion reigns as the drive fills with departing guests, and you are caught sneaking out by some of the aristocrats. As you're approaching the window, they come out from the ballroom and spot you exiting the window.
Uh-oh.
Play it cool.
And,
Like I'm just one of the servants.
intruders! Soldiers! You hear as they sound the alarm. So you all now need to run. Okay?
Okay.
I need... so the three of you who are outside, you can get away, but I need a constitution roll from you.
55.
You're 75, so you pass.
Yeah, okay, I'm good.
And then make me a climb roll.
Ooh.
Yeah, probably. No, he's gonna fail.
Okay, failed.
Does somebody want to make a strength roll to save her?
I can.
Pull her over the wall.
I can do
Okay,
that.
which one of us?
I have a high.
Whoever has the high strength, yeah.
Pass.
Okay, yeah, so she jumps and starts to slip down, but you grab her and hoist her up over the wall as you hear the sounds of footmen approaching and shouting in the night.
90. Oh, wow. Yeah, you have all this right.
So yeah, you successfully escape the mansion and are able to get back to Plessy unmolested.
Ooh.
And you've got your wig with you.
Mm-hmm.
That is your evidence, your key piece of evidence. And then you know there's more to find once they actually raid the place.
Yeah.
So you're gonna head back to Versailles then. The night stretches into early morning as you leave the wretched estate behind. You ride swiftly, slipping away from Plessy and back towards Versailles under the cloak of darkness. Along the road, signs of unrest grow ever more apparent. You pass bands of soldiers, frontier troops, now converging on both Paris and Versailles. The countryside crackles with tension. In nearby villages and towns, bonfires burn. Voices, raised in anger, echo through narrow streets. The revolution is stirring. There are increasingly frequent reports of violence. Carriages are stopped, nobles and clergy are pulled from their seats and questioned. Those who do not publicly support the Third Estate are jeered, struck, even killed. By the time you reach Versailles, the morning light reveals the city on edge. Captain Malon receives you immediately. His face is drawn but alert, his uniform crisp despite the hour. He listens to your account in silence, absorbing every detail of the nightmarish spectacle you witnessed. When you finish, he rises from his chair and begins to pace. At last we have it. Proof enough. You know the estate now. The layout, the rhythm of the night. You've seen how they move, where they gather, where they hide their crimes. I want you to take the lead in planning the raid. Sergeant. We must strike swiftly, precisely, and without warning. Fenalik must not escape, and neither must the truth. Begin your preparations. So Fenalik mentioned the Grand Carnival of
Yeah.
Animals, but
Yeah.
you don't know what date it's on,
Okay.
because you left without finding that out, because of
We had to leave quickly, stealthily.
things, because
Yes.
of reasons.
Of reasons. Reasons.
But yeah, you do mention to him that he was talking about this Grand Carnival of Animals, but you don't know the day. So make me actually.
Talk.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
need a listen roll from all of you.
All of us, listen, roll. Hint,
Oh,
hint.
come on, Kristoff. You're the one. You're the one.
23!
I failed.
Yeah, you overhear
Oh.
a woman whisper the details of the Carnival of Animals to a confidant in Versailles while you're there. And you overhear the exact day that it's supposed to happen. When it happens. I don't need to be specific. You know. The characters know, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I knew you could do it, Kristoff.
She'll be so proud of you.
Well,
Malon expects you to work out the following. Well, so you already know when it's going to take place. Carnival of Animals. We're going to do that. And then you need to decide when you'll strike. Okay. Ah, yes. You need to be clear on what objectives are you trying to secure. So that the men know what's important.
okay.
And how they'll enter the property. Which I'll give you more. We'll work that out a little bit later. Because
We don't exactly have a map of it?
I do have a map, actually, but I'm saving it. Because it doesn't quite match the description. Because the description's so impossible to depict. You know? Nothing is a right angle, and it's all different styles.
okay.
It's like really... But it's on the map is like a perfect grid, so...
Okay.
Alright.
So, the Madonna statue.
And who will lead each group of men? He's, He tells you that, you know, secrecy is of utmost importance. That I can provide 50 soldiers, men I trust. And any specific requisitions for arms and equipment, I can provide. And before you disperse, he says, there's one more thing. I confided in Dr. Rigaud about the full extent of what we witnessed, what you witnessed. He knows the stakes, and he believes in you. And he believes you. He's been preparing his own measures quietly, and I believe his insight might be vital. Pulls a small slip of paper from his coat and hands it to you. Here, this will grant you passage to a secure chamber within the palace. Rigaud is waiting for you there. Go now and speak freely. He will advise you on what to expect and what may yet come. So you follow Malon's instructions. Make your way into the depths of the palace. The halls of Versailles are hushed, but not empty. The complex machinery of court etiquette continues to grind on, even in these dark days. The palace's rigid protocol becomes evident as you navigate its corridors. Some doors are to be knocked upon, others scratched with a fingernail, and a few only opened after the proper bow or whispered phrase. In certain chambers, servants are permitted to sit, and others, they must remain standing, or are forbidden entirely. Every step requires precision. Every glance must be calculated. At last you arrive. The secure chamber is hidden behind a tapestry in one of the lesser-known wings of the palace. A silent guard nods as you show Malon's slip of paper and step inside. Dr. Rigaud awaits. He rises as you enter. His features drawn, his powdered wig askew. He looks tired, older than when you last saw him. I am grateful you've come. Malon has told me everything. and I've told him all I can in return. He gestures for you to sit. I am no longer in favor at court since the death of the Dauphin. Well, suspicion turns quickly in Versailles. My diagnosis was simple, clear. The boy contracted consumption from his wet nurse. There were signs, evidence, but the truth no longer matters. His eyes burn with frustration. Comte Fenalik is behind it. He is spreading rumors, insinuating that I infected the Dauphin myself, through contact with the dead. Though through some obscure miasma drawn from the catacombs. He whispers poison in the ear of courtiers, and worse, into those of the Queen herself. The raid must succeed. The Comte's depredations must end. His unnatural influence over the Queen is poisoning not just the court, but the very spirit of the nation. Do not underestimate him. He is no ordinary man. Fenalik is dangerous. He has killed men in duels. Stronger, larger men than himself. He is fast, precise, and ruthless. He exhales, weariness etched across his face. You have my gratitude, and my hope. I wish you luck. So, you have some time before the raid, and you each visit home to see your family and say your farewells. Let's start with Sergeant Thierry Renault. The door creaks open with that familiar weight, and the scent of wood smoke and lavender greets you like an old friend. The cottage is small, but warm, its stone hearth glowing with soft firelight. You step inside, and the cold of the evening vanishes behind you, driven off by the sound of Marguerite's laughter. She's kneeling on the floor, her sleeves rolled up, hair loose about her face, as she gently tickles baby Lucy beneath the chin. Olivier is asleep in the basket by the fire, a pale scrap of muslin rising and falling with each tiny breath. You close the door behind you quietly, and the latch clicks shut like the soft closing of a chapter. Marguerite looks up. Her eyes catch yours, and something passes between you. Love, yes, but also understanding. She knows. She always does. You set your musket by the door, boots off. You're on your knees before her in a heartbeat, kissing her cheek, her hands, her brow. You hold her close, as if your arms could protect her from what's to come. She doesn't cry. She's too strong for that. But her breath hitches as she presses her face to your chest. I mended your blue shirt, she murmurs into your coat. The one you like best. I know it's foolish. Won't be worn under the uniform, but I did it anyway. You try to smile, and the effort aches in your throat. Lucy babbles behind you, waving her arms. You pull away from your wife, just long enough to scoop the child into your arms. Lucy babbles behind you, waving her arms. You pull away from your wife just long enough to scoop the child into yours. She is warm and soft, impossibly small. Her tiny fingers close around your thumb with shocking strength. You kiss her forehead. Then you lean over and do the same to Olivier, whispering a prayer that she never remembers war. Marguerite stands behind you, her hand on your shoulder, her strength steadying you. When you come back, we'll finish the fence. We'll plant lavender all along it. The girls will run between the rows. You nod, though your eyes are clouded. The silence between you stretches, not empty, but with heavy love and everything unspoken. You kiss her once more, this time like a vow. Then you stand, shoulders squared, the firelight behind you. The door opens again, and this time, when it closes, it does so like the ending of a lullaby. Christophe Pressy. You scale the garden wall with ease, just as you've done a dozen times before, your boots finding the same worn footholds in the stone. your hands ghosting over ivy familiar as your own breath. The moon is high, veiled in a thin sheen of cloud, and the estate is hushed, its windows shuttered, its halls still. Only one window glows faintly, behind the overgrown rose trellis. You tap once on the glass. A breath later, it opens. Melody appears like a vision conjured by a longing. Her nightdress clings to her like mist. Her dark hair spills over her shoulders. Her eyes, those wide, knowing eyes, drink you in with a sorrow too old for someone so young. "Christophe," she whispers, pulling you inside. You're in her room before another word passes between you. The chamber smells of old books and roses, and the fire in the grate casts long shadows over the silk wallpaper. You take her in your arms, and for a moment there is no war, no Comte, no dawn, just you and her. "I thought you would lock me away," she says, burying her face in your chest. "I nearly did. He said if I spoke your name again, I'd be sent to a convent in Lyon." You chuckle low in your throat. But even your grin can't hold against what looms. You feel her trembling. You press your lips to hers, softly at first, then with the urgency of someone trying to memorize a soul. Her hands clutch at your coat, your collar, as if she can hold back the night by sheer force of will. You both know this may be the last. Later, you lie tangled in her sheets, the firelight flickering like candle flames over a chapel altar. Her head rests against your bare shoulder, her fingers tracing the scars along your ribs. "Promise me you'll come back. Lie if you must." You rise before the dawn. She helps you dress in silence, tears finally spilling when she fastens your last button. You kiss them from her cheeks, then slip out the window the way you came. Behind you, the light in her room fades with the morning, but her love burns on in your chest, reckless, radiant, and unyielding. Joseph Hugel, you are walking the narrow alley behind the tavern, with your head held low, coat pulled tight against the chill. The lanterns of the quarter are going out one by one, snuffed by the creeping hour, and the street is nearly silent, save for the soft patter of your boots and the occasional clink of glass from behind shuttered windows. You reach the door and knock twice. A pause. Then it opens. Therese stands barefoot on the wooden floor, wrapped in one of your old shirts, her hair unpinned and loose down her back. Her face is streaked with flour and fatigue, but her smile, when she sees you, is pure warmth. "Georges," she breathes, slipping into the name without thinking. Then softer, "Martine." You step inside and close the door behind you. The tiny garret smells of baked bread and lavender soap. The little stove still glows, and a kettle sings quietly. You feel your shoulders loosen for the first time all day. She wraps her arms around you without a word. You hold her close, burying your face in her hair. Here, in this tiny world, you are no soldier, no man, no lie. Just two sisters clinging to each other against the storm. "You don't have to go," she murmurs. "You could stay. No one would blame you." You pull back just enough to meet her eyes. Therese's lip trembles. You sit on the edge of the bed, and she kneels beside you, taking off your boots, like she used to when you were both little and hiding from your father's moods. You talk, but only about small things. The baker who keeps burning his bread, cat with one eye who's taken up residence on the roof. Eventually, you lie together under the patchwork quilt. You hold her like a child, as you did when she was very small and woke from nightmares. Her hand clutches your sleeve all night, as if she's afraid you'll vanish before the dawn. And you nearly do. but you rise with the pale light, quietly dressing in the uniform you have come to wear like skin. She watches you from the bed, eyes glistening, saying nothing. Before you leave, you kneel beside her and kiss her brow. Then you turn and leave, the sound of her breath behind you more sacred than any hymn. Michael Bowman's. You're chopping wood in the back courtyard, more for the noise than the necessity. The logs split clean under your hand, the rhythm steady, reliable. But it's late, the light's gone gray, and you know you can't stall forever. The door creaks open behind you.
That's enough for tonight.
You turn. Your father is leaning in the doorway, bracing himself against the frame. Remy Beaumains looks smaller in the city. He's wrapped in a patched coat, his twisted leg stiff beneath him, his beard neatly trimmed but white as flour.
You'll make the neighbors think we're opening a tannery with all that racket,
He says. You set down the axe and wipe your hands. He steps out slowly. You move to help him, but he waves you off, proud as ever. He lowers himself onto the old bench, breathing through the pain.
I know where you're going,
He says. You nod.
You've had your pack ready 3 days now. Thought I wouldn't notice.
Silence settles between you.
You could stay,
He continues.
There's enough left in that clever head of yours to make something of this city. I've seen you reading at night, scratching in your little books. You talk like a man who wants to build something, not just die for someone else's idea of France. You're always a sharp one, not like me. I broke my back so you'd have a choice. You see more than just what's in front of you. But don't let that get in the way of what matters.
You sit beside him.
When I go, this old world won't even notice. But if you go and don't come back, well, then it's you who will be forgotten. Not by me, but by the ones who make statues. So don't die for glory, Miguel. Don't die for nothing. Live. Change something.
He reaches into his coat and pulls out something wrapped in cloth. He presses it into your hand.
A knife. It belonged to your grandfather. Carved 100 fences. Sit one tax collector set a strap with it. When no one was looking. Use it well. Cut bread or throats. I don't care. But use it.
You nod. He leans back and exhales.
When you come back, we'll take a bit of land outside the city. Good earth. You'll write speeches. I'll curse at chickens.
You laugh. You don't say if, just when. You help him back inside. His fingers grip your sleeve tighter than you expect. As you guide him to bed, he turns his head and says, soft but firm,
Make your mark, boy. But come home. Don't leave me staring at the door like a widow.
But your voice cracks, and in that moment, even your fine boots can't make you feel tall. The morning before the raid begins in the gray light just before dawn. You wake in the barracks to the sound of boots scuffing against wood, and the low murmur of soldiers dressing in silence. The air is heavy, with the scent of damp wool, sweat, and the faint tang of iron. Two to a bed, the barracks are crowded and cold, yet no one complains. Not today. Breakfast is served, potato and turnip soup, thick with root vegetables and flavored with scraps of meat. Alongside it, coarse bread is handed out in hunks, and whatever meat remains is divided. The soup comes from a communal gamelle, a black iron cauldron, set in the center of a long wooden table. Each soldier steps forward to dip their spoon in strict order of seniority. The older veterans eat first, quickly and without ceremony, already on their second or third mouthful by the time the younger soldiers blow cautiously on their first spoonful to cool it. The rhythm is practiced, unspoken. A few grumble quietly over their breakfast.
They take money out for everything.
Grumbles a young soldier named Bastian.
Food, brandy, thread for mending. Wouldn't surprise me if they charged us for the lice in our blankets.
At least you're getting paid, mutters Claude, hunched over his bread.
The captain's held back my entire pay last month. Said I wasn't allowed outside work. As if feeding my children is some kind of betrayal.
Across the table, Sergeant Morel snorts without looking up.
Then you should have paid your cut to the officer,
he says, voice like gravel.
That's the way it's done.
Claude opens his mouth, then shuts it again. The only sound is the scrape of spoons and soup. After breakfast, the call to muster rings out across the yard. Saddles are strapped, muskets slung, and sabers checked one final time. 50 men fall into formation beneath the early morning sky. Captain Malon addresses the ranks. The air is heavy with tension. He looks each man in the eye before speaking.
What you are about to hear does not leave this yard. You are now sworn to silence, by your lives and your honor.
He pauses, then begins.
Tomorrow, on the night of the Grand Carnival of Animals, we strike. No one is to be allowed to live. Everyone on the Comte's estate is to be arrested. I don't care if they wear silks or rags, they go in chains. Comte Fenalik is to be taken alive. He will stand trial, the world will know his name and what he has done. Do not kill him. Everything on that estate is evidence. I don't want to hear of a single trinket going missing. No one is to loot. Not a spoon, not a coin. Everything is to be catalogued and brought to me. And if you find any journals, books, letters, anything written, you bring it straight to Dr. Rigaud. He will build the case that there is a bastard.
Malon levels his gaze.
This unread. Sergeant Renaud will be reading the raid. Once you breach the gates, you take your orders from him. He knows the terrain. He's seen what's behind those walls. You follow his word as you would mine. Understood?
Then he turns to you, Sergeant Renaud.
Sergeant, give the order.
The column moves through the countryside in silence, the rhythm of boots on dirt the only constant sound. By afternoon, you reach the outskirts of the Forêt de Saint-Germain. There, in the cover of the trees, you set up camp. Tents are pitched beneath the broad canopy of ancient oaks, their canvas flapping lightly in the forest breeze. Soldiers work quickly and with practiced discipline, hammering stakes into the soft earth and hauling supplies into place. The smell of pine and damp moss hangs thick in the air. Small campfires begin to glow, casting flickering light across the tents. Over the flames, water boils in blackened kettles, and dry rations are softened into a crude stew. Some men sharpen blades or clean their muskets by lamplight, while others sit in circles, murmuring prayers or wrapping rosaries around calloused fingers. One of the younger soldiers breaks the quiet, his voice uncertain.
Should we send scouts ahead, sir?
With that, scouts are dispatched towards Poissy, slipping into the trees like shadows. The rest remain behind, nerves taut as bowstrings, each man waiting for darkness, for orders, for whatever comes next. The forest is quiet, but tension crackles like kindling in the air. The next morning, the camp is shaken from uneasy sleep by the shrill blast of whistles. Shouts echo through the trees as men rush from their tents, grabbing weapons and pulling on coats. A soldier bursts into your campfire circle, breathless.
They've got someone watching the camp! A spy!
Within minutes, prisoner is dragged before you. He's a thin, mud-smeared man, his face bruised from capture. He says nothing, only glares up at you with bloodshot eyes. The surrounding soldiers are tense, angry, and uncertain. One of them steps forwards and asks, "What are your orders, Sergeant? What should we do with him?"
Let us see how he handles pain. We will make him talk.
So you attempt to intimidate him. And after successfully doing so, you come to realize the man is a dullard and a thug, thinking only of impressing the Comte. He has no idea of the villain's real nature, and reveals nothing under interrogation. And that is where we will end it for this session.